Hey, first of all, I mean, sure, like coming up with the policy idea sounds like pretty daunting.
Yeah.
And how do you find bridging the gap between like coming up with those ideas and then like articulating those ideas?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, you got to start with your own constitution. Like, what are things that are important to you? What are areas of your life that you hold dear?
Like, what were some of those things for you?
Well, for me, I hate bullies. That's
me
one
too.
thing. I have a sense of a strong sense of justice.
Does that come from a personal experience, any particular experience? Or,
Oh, you're bringing me back to middle school.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Comedians, man. I think comedians have bully stories.
Yeah.
But
Nah, I mean,
He's got a very strong anti-swirly platform.
I just never saw. I was always like curious of people, just curious in the sense of like when, especially like growing up in high school, for instance, like I had a whole lot of different groups I was a part of. I was in orchestra, I was in cross country, I was in track, I was in JROTC, I was in National Honor Society, I was with the AP kids, and I would hang out also with the kid. So I was in a bunch of different groups and sectors. Like I didn't have like one set group of people I wanted to be around all the time. I was curious about getting into everything and understanding everybody, because that was honestly interesting to me. And what I found is that even in areas where like we start to disagree, or like people will start to label one group of people in a certain way, I'm like, well, actually, have you talked to them?
Right.
Have you actually like found the humanity behind this person? Because you probably find out we agree on 95% of stuff.
Because you're a guy too that it's like, John's a guy that, while every other comedian I know in Chicago was trying to get like, local spots or like a club spot, and you talk to John, he's like, oh, I'm touring across Europe, and you like set this all up on your own, right?
Yeah. I have a, sometimes I feel like I am a glutton for punishment.
I was going to say, do you ever try anything easy?
No, man, no. Well, I have this new, not new, but, one of the tenets I live by is that fear will keep you small.
Oh, wow.
So, when I try not to make a decision off of fear, because fear-based decisions will make your life very uncomfortable.
You got to be careful though. Some people are going to take that as dieting advice.
if I'm afraid enough, I can drop a few pounds.
Yeah.
Well, we got to talk about Credo Mobile before we get too much further. We're brought to you by Credo Mobile phone and text line. It's 773-763-9279. We're partnered with Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com and listen to WCPT's exclusive live broadcast of the Chicago Pride Parade this Sunday, sponsored by Credo Mobile. Sunday, June 29th, 11 to 2 p.m. Central.
And also, don't forget that you're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez here in Chicago on WCPT 820 AM, and also Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle. And I'll be in Seattle tomorrow at the Neptune Theater. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, throwing down.
You ever performed in Seattle, John?
No, I've never been.
Because it's too close.
Too close.
Seattle.
Yeah. No. If it's not Germany, at least I don't have to be in a plane for at least 8 hours. It's not worth it.
Right. What was it? Same thing. When I met you, you said you were on your way to, what was it, Stockholm, Sweden, somewhere. That's
a fair guess. I don't know where I was probably headed to. But,
yeah.
I've been back and forth going to Europe. That's where I do the majority of my touring. And last fall I did a 20 country tour, headlining a bunch of different countries and whatnot. So
when you were in those countries, did that give you any ideas of what you could bring back here to put into legislation or?
Oh, 100%.
Like what?
Well, I mean, for one, universal health care.
Man, come on.
Yeah.
Please.
And what district are you running for? Remind us.
I'm sorry,
What district are you running for?
7th.
7th. So we're going to take a break in a second, but if anyone has any calls, anyone has any questions for John, wants to call in, we'll take calls on that.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great, man. Because I want to talk more about that universal health care. Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back. You're listening to WCPT 820 AM. Also, Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle.
You know that you can listen to Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT AM 820. Stream us live at WCPT820.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Or you can ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to play WCPT from TuneIn. But now you have another option. We're simulcasting our programming overnight. 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on WSBC AM 1240 for a clearer reception in and around the city. Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. And now overnights on WSBC 1240 AM, where facts matter.
If you're purchasing a new home and working with Rocket Mortgage, listen very closely. Carly, 54, first-time home buyer, income 65 G's a year. Contact your Rocket Mortgage for a mortgage. Rocket locked her into a 25-year fixed FHA loan at 6.125%, which sounds great until I reviewed Rocket's loan documents. Carly didn't know Rocket placed her into a 25-year fixed loan, not a 30-year fixed loan like she wanted. Carly also didn't know Rocket Mortgage charged her over $5,000 to lower her rate. I explained why I thought it wasn't in her financial best interest to buy down the rate, and that's why Team Hochberg, not Rocket Mortgage, will be helping Carly with her mortgage. Let's review. Rocket Mortgage placed Carly into a loan she didn't want and didn't understand why Rocket charged her to secure a lower rate. If you want to work with a lender you can trust, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 112-4061.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
Or
and
Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dwayne Kennedy, sitting in with Adam Burke.
Hello.
Lady B.
Hello.
And future Congressman John McCombs.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was talking about...
Can I gotta call you out. You totally read that off his t-shirt.
I did. Yeah. I knew it was John McCombs, but what he was running for... Yeah.
I kind of want other people... it makes a great case for everybody having a t-shirt on at all times.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Hey, did you bring any other shirts?
Unfortunately,
No
I did not bring extra shirts. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
He's an ex-Marine, so he can really operate a t-shirt cannon. You know?
Yeah.
Snipe it from 100 meters away. There you go.
But
Whether you want it or not.
But John, you were talking about universal health care, man.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan and how do you plan to implement that? Because that is, we all know that's essential and crucial.
Yeah.
And a country like this that doesn't have that is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, my plan is essentially I want to fall in line with Medicare for all, first and foremost. I want to say that. Also, I mean, we're at a point now where not only are we just having trouble maintaining where we're at, but we're actually about to make cuts. Right. So that to me is like we're going in a completely opposite direction. And, what I saw, especially when I was traveling out in Europe and going all these places, the United States is the richest country in the world. And yet we can't Americans spend more on health care than countries that have universal health care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like on a personal level.
Yeah.
So we're already failing. We're already behind the curve on that one, right? And so part of it also is getting that big money out of politics, right? The pharmaceutical companies that, or the health insurance, the pharmaceutical companies too, but also the insurance companies Who, I mean, obviously, it's in their interest that we don't have universal health care because they want to charge people,
right?
Essentially, to also to not cover them.
Exactly. Pay us money until we have to pay you money.
Yeah. So, what I'm looking at is like that transition period of getting to the place where we are doing Medicare for all and we can negotiate lower drug prices, because it's ridiculous the fact that we pay 100 times the cost of a drug for what it costs in Denmark or in another country.
It's not like they don't sell to Denmark. They just have figured out a way where it works over there. But they're like, I mean, it's like any other business. If you see a sucker coming, if you see someone who doesn't know the going rate of something, you'll sell it for what you can sell it, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's why our current president will always talk about people being suckers.
Yeah.
He'll always talk about that kind of stuff. Like, we're the greatest suckers when it comes to...
Yeah. That's why you can't run a country like a business. Because a business is amoral. Because your business, at the end of the day, what's the business's purpose is to make money. Right? So now you're just treating people as commodities.
Right.
How do I get the most money out of people?
Right.
Instead of actually taking care of them.
We will be charging royalties every time you sing the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah. Well, my health care plan is a few passages from the Bible and a chicken's foot. That's where I'm at.
Well, that's not too far from what a lot of people's health care plan is,
Man.
Now, is that a generic chicken foot, or is that the Humira chicken's foot?
I'm on the generic chicken foot program.
Cage-free chicken foot.
Yeah. To get on the free range chicken foot program, it was out of my...
It's still attached to the chicken. That's how cheap it is.
But I had to chase my health care around the yard a few times.
But even and this went before even my spending a lot of time out in Europe. When I was working at a bankruptcy law firm, and I was talking to clients, number one reason people were going bankrupt was medical bills.
Yeah.
And these aren't people who, were frivolous spenders or, what, they got sick.
Yeah.
Right.
And so why is it that if you get sick, you deserve to go bankrupt and lose your house, lose your belongings, all that? It's ridiculous.
It is. It's vile and it's egregious and criminal. Really. Yeah.
The biggest gambling operations in this country are DraftKings and getting sick.
Yeah. Right.
There better not be a DraftKings.
Right. Oh, man.
They're about to take bets on people getting sick or not. That's what.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, actually, they have a feature in that on FanDuel.
Well, that is the thing. There's that actor, Michael Sheen. He just did this thing. He did it in England, but you can do it here in America. Where it's so crazy where Michael Sheen he spent something like $500,000 to pay off $10 million of medical debt. Because because people are out there buying medical debt is such it's considered to be an investment, right? Where people will buy and they just know that will be because they will literally get to bleed you dry for the rest of your life. If you buy that debt, it's we'll come for you.
Not just medical debt, all debt, really.
Yeah.
Well, that's what kicked off the housing crisis, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, man. Well, John, hey, brother, I wish you all the best. I mean, I'm not kicking you out, but I'm just saying. Man, who are you running against? Do you even know?
It's not clear yet whether the incumbent is going to run again or not. He hasn't made a final decision. I know some other people have filed in the district, but I think a lot of people are waiting to see what the incumbent does and are making their decision based upon that. I'm not the type of person who, waits for my turn. So I'm jumping in.
Yeah, the other comedians would be meaning to talk to you about that.
Yeah, right. I cut the line in the open mic. Yeah.
I thought I was supposed to.
Well, I will say that. I mean, how long have you been doing comedy?
13 years.
Yeah, that gives you a leg up in terms of the heckle game, right? As a politician.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in terms of, right, just speaking in front of people game, right?
Yeah.
Well, even like when I was pledging a frat, and when I was in college, and I remember them like thinking, how are we gonna, haze John essentially? And at that point, I already been in ROTC with like Marines who have been like Iraq and Afghanistan, and it's like, yeah, y'all can't scare me, right? Like I've been yelled at by people who've killed people. So what are you gonna do to me, Tanner?
Right. Well, if you, I don't know what I could do to help, but I can start working in your rumors and hearsay department to spread lies about your opponents.
Do you know what's funny? Because John just headlined Zanies, right? So like 2 days ago?
On Monday.
And I love to think that there's someone in your audience that was there on Monday, and the next time they see you will be at like a congressional hearing. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure that guy told my girlfriend to shut the hell up. Hey, isn't that guy? That's the...
Yeah, so now I would like your vote, okay?
Now, I know I made fun of your shirt. But,
yeah. Man, now how big is the area that you're running to represent?
Yeah, so each congressional district is roughly about 750,000 people.
That's a lot of folks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, and it's a big district, If you look at it on a map, it looks like an upside down L. So you have like parts of the south side, big chunks of the west side. You also have the loop. You get some of the western suburbs as well. So it's a lot of different people.
Wow, yeah. What suburbs would you represent?
So you have Oak Park, you have Forest Park, you have Maywood, you have Broadview, you have Hillside, and like you have some cuts and pieces of others, like you have River Forest, so you have quite a few.
So it goes through like some parts of the town and not other parts of the town, like a little bit of George's barbecue, but not the whole store.
Yeah. Well, literally,
you won't be representing the kitchen.
Well, I just represent the smoker, brother. That's it.
Well, literally, where I live, if I cross the street, I'm in another district.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like being on the west side, you cross the street, you go from Chicago to Oak Park.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah. So, Lady B, here he is. This is the guy. Yeah. We have to bring you back, man. Oh, let's go to a call. We got Jim. I'm sorry, Jim. We'll be right back. We got to go to a break. You're listening to WCPT 820 AM. Also, Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle. We will be right back with more of the future Congressman John McCombs.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Look for mainly cloudy skies tonight with a chance of scattered showers and storms, a low temperature of 75 degrees. Sunny on Friday with a chance of afternoon thunderstorms and a high of 86, with winds out of the southwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Saturday, sunny and a high temperature of 74. Sunday, scattered showers and storms with a high of 93. Monday, chance of storms and a high temperature of 88. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 93.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Jew's Views with Richard Jew.
And with us is our own state comptroller, Susanna Mendoza.
I went to this news event the other day, and I'm telling this story about how I used to love to play soccer, and it just came out. I'm like, I used to love kicking balls, and not much has changed these days, right? I'm still kicking balls. Anyway, I shouldn't have said it, but I just said it again. But it was super funny. But the point is, we're out there working hard, and doing what needs to be done, fighting a good fight.
Richard Jew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dwayne Kennedy sitting in for Patti. Also sitting in with me is the one, the only...
Adam Burke. Also...
Lady B.
Boom. And then we have running for Congress is...
John McCombs.
Come on, everybody. We're doing the whole thing. Also sitting in and listening to us on the West Coast is Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle. And don't forget that we are also sponsored by Minocqua Brewing, Source Solar, and kids above all, because without the kids... Anyway...
Wow, yeah, that's why you need a team to come up with slogans.
Yeah. I ran out of profundity. Without kids, then we won't have many adults.
There's a real profundity gap that we need to close in this city.
But we were talking about off the air about some of the other reasons that motivated you to run, John.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I was talking about how another big thing I took away from my time being in Europe is their different approaches to criminal justice reform. So in some places, especially in Scandinavian Nordic countries, they have what they call the Nordic model, which their focus on criminal justice is about rehabilitative instead of punitive, right? So they have a low recidivism rate because returning citizens are actually given the tools they need to be successful in society instead of being locked up in an area where they're treated like an animal and then just thrown back into the streets, essentially.
Right.
So we need a better emphasis on actually rehabilitating our returning citizens to set them up for success so they don't end up returning to jail, returning to prison afterwards.
Right.
And part of that is, one, abolishing for-profit prisons.
Oh man.
And
how many of those have increased like over the last 10, 20 years? This has to have been thousands, right?
I don't have the numbers on that specifically, but I'll say, look, I mean, when you get into a part, like we talked about before, when you're treating people like a commodity, then your bottom line is affected by how many people can I incarcerate.
Right.
And so, they've actually shown, the numbers that these prisons make per inmate. I mean, it comes out to something like $88,000 a year we pay to lock people up. We're paying more than people going to college.
Yeah. That's bad as a prisoner if one of the shareholders comes around and gives you a performance review. We're not making as much money off you as we would like.
To pick up your numbers.
Number 5723.
Oh man, right. So and prisons are just basically they're just revenge factories.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
What you're really hoping for is to be fired from prison. We're gonna have to let you go. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're not pulling your weight.
Right. Yeah. And in the House of Corrections, nobody's coming out corrected.
No. And it's also, what's so funny about it is that, you'll say this is the parts of America and they'll be surprised. And it's like we have an entire prison entertainment industrial complex around this stuff, like Scared Straight and all these shows and Locked Up, where people are they love how hard prison looks. And it's it's not like prison isn't hard because people are getting rehabilitated. Prison's hard because you have to become more like a criminal to survive it. You have to sign up with this group of people, and you have to it makes you less socialized.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It makes you socialized in kind of the wrong ways. And we know this because we've turned it into entertainment.
And exactly. And you've entertained impressionable minds who think, oh man, I'd like to go to prison, when really all you really wanted to be was on TV.
Right.
It's like,
Right,
oh
right,
man, I didn't
right.
know. I just want to be.
You can get a face tattoo whenever.
Yeah.
Don't tempt some comedians. They will 100% take that route to get famous. They're like, oh, and you saw him on Scared Straight. You saw him on Locked Up.
You saw him on closed circuit television surveillance. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it going.
Speaking of plugs, we would be remiss if we didn't point out that tomorrow, Joan Esposito will be taking your calls and talking to Chicago TV newsman Mike Flannery and Dylan Hankey, Director of Programming and Production at Navy Pier, talking about summer activities at Navy Pier. That's live, local, and progressive weekdays from 2 to 5 Central on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years.
Yeah, and also don't forget that you're listening to Driving It Home, not only in Chicago, but also on the West Coast, Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle, and that this show is sponsored by Minocqua Brewing, Source Solar, and kids above all, because after all, without the kids, I still haven't thought of anything.
If we could get some kids to finish that slogan for us, if we could get any.
Man, before we do anything, let's take a call, shall we? Yeah, let's go to Jim, because I love Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hi, guys. What fascinates me is the people with a few bucks of this generation are so sadistic. You've got the Heritage Foundation, you've got ALEC, you've got the Cato Institute. They sponsored this bill in Congress to cut off health care to millions of people. And then I heard the last interview last night, a doctor in Palestine, an American doctor. He said, I don't know if I have to go into therapy until I bite the dust over this, but at medical school, I've never seen anything like it. People are starving to death. They're being, do you know how many death certificates he passes out every day? 20.
Jeez.
And those are the lucky people. Because please believe me, starvation is excruciating. I'm Irish, and from 1845 to for at least 5 years, genocide was delivered to the Irish by the Crown.
Whoa, right.
And those deaths are horrible. And remember, we had more people die in hunger strike, and you could see you could go 3 or 4 months without food, but you go blind. It's an excruciating death. So you're really lucky to get shot through the head. But what is the purpose of this? Biden had a second ceasefire in place, and we built the bridge for food there. But he said the ball bets are off if this lunatic gets elected. Yeah. Because he's in bed with Yahoo. Yeah. And what did Yahoo do? He killed 1,000 Iranians. For what? He started the fight. And he will not allow food in the Palestine. It's impossible to listen to it. The torture, the people dying, children, infants dying of starvation. For what? I don't know. I know that Huckabee, the maniac, the lunatic hillbilly, that he put.
I saw them once at the Riviera, the lunatic hillbilly.
Yeah.
What's crazy is he chose that name for himself.
The manure kicker from Arkansas. He said?
What?
He goes, they don't deserve. Palestinians don't deserve a country. They should just swim for it when they're starving.
There is a very callous line that has come. Republicans have this thing, and certain other people too, but certain Republicans have this thing where they know it's a difficult, thorny question and they know it upsets people, so they kind of get really glib about it and they think we'll just kind of move on. And I will say too, what has been crazy is that the Iran opening up the war on the Iran front has sort of put Gaza in the shade a little bit. And again,
unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. But think of this. You've got Peter Thiel, who, anyway, Trump announced that he gave $30 million to some shadow organization to help feed the Palestinians. But what's really going to happen, they'll put their hands in their pocket and pocket the $30 million themselves, knowing this crowd. And then you got Peter Thiel. How about the prison they're opening in Florida? Alligator.
Oh, yeah.
Alcatraz. You know what the joke is? Every time you hear Alcatraz, I had a buddy who was in Alcatraz, a friend of mine. He was a friend of the family. He's a bank robber, and a great friend of mine. And he was in Alcatraz. He used to make the booze in Alcatraz. He used to get the peelings. Yeah, but wait, here's a good story. I've been a bank. He was older than me, but we got to go to a bank, and my cousin went to cash a check, and I was driving. I was about 18. So we walk in the bank, and he goes to cash the check, and this guy's name was Barney. Barney says to me, Jimmy goes, if you're going to hit this joint, don't jump over the left counter. Go over. He started. He had the bank.
He's giving you bank robbery instructions.
He's got the big case, right? But I got the keys. I got the keys to the car. I hit the keys to the car. I'm thinking to myself, well, if he does go up, how am I going to drive? We're up in the sticks. You know,
hey, Lady B, can we get Jim a round of applause for the most Chicago sentence I've heard all day? He goes, anyway, a friend of the family, a bank robber.
But when I got to the parking lot, I was so relieved that that everything was straightened out. But we're in a dilemma here. But I think it will be. We're coming around. It's like getting punched. It's like getting hit in the 14th round, and you still got a round to go. Anyway, you guys, thanks for taking my call.
Of course, Jim. All right,
Jim.
you too.
Stay safe.
Yeah, it was Jim checking in. Jim is a regular, man. He calls.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's the cat that when I started doing Patty's show, I'd sit in and co-host, and he calls all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be at the crib. I wonder what's going on with Jim. Jim is all right.
Jim's always got like the greatest stories.
Always.
Jim's stories always end up like that. It's always
I will say though, because he's got a point there, like that anger that people are feeling a lot towards, especially like the Democratic Party. Is that the response about Israel and Palestine,
right,
and what's going on over there, and how essentially, as I see it, like. It's now the tail wagging the dog. Like our foreign policy is essentially whatever Netanyahu wants to do.
Right.
Because it feels like this whole Iran thing, we just kind of got wrapped into it because I guess they're gonna bomb them, so we gotta support them for reasons.
Yeah.
And no matter if those reasons are horrifying.
It's like my dad used to have. My dad was a doorman at a bar. My dad was 6'2", 300 pounds. Big guy, could handle himself. He had a brother-in-law who was like 5'5", and the brother-in-law would get into scraps at bars. My dad would never get into fights, but it's like the brother-in-law. He knew he had this friend.
Oh, it's always those cats.
Who are you talking to? I'm talking to you.
Oh, boy. Jeez. My boy behind.
Yeah. One day he's not going to be there.
Yeah, man.
Or even the girlfriend who picks a fight with a guy. It's like, you just wait till I get John.
Man.
Wait, what?
I had somebody say that one time. And you don't like this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not fighting anybody. I can't fight. What are you talking about? I can't even negotiate that well. It was funny what Trump was saying, that he was going to initially with the bombing, we've bombed them back to the whatever.
He doesn't know history well enough to name ages.
Yeah. Back to the Stone Age. Yeah, he didn't even say this. He did. We bombed them back to a few years ago. When really he'd only bombed them back to like daylight savings time. Yeah. Hey, everybody, listen. Thank you for listening and calling in, and we will be right back with more Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on 820 WCPT Heartland Signal. An alternative talk, 1150 KKNW in Seattle.
Still struggling with gas, bloat, constipation, nausea, or diarrhea? Have you tried eliminating foods but felt no change? It's time to call the tummy whisperer, Renee Barish at Digestive Health Solutions. Renee uses targeted testing to reveal exactly what's happening in your gut. Gut bacteria plays a key role in all your body functions, from cardiovascular regulation to brain function. When the gut is imbalanced, you may experience symptoms that extend beyond the gut, such as anxiety, skin issues, poor sleep, or increased risk for disease. Digestive Health Solution uses advanced testing to identify harmful microbes and evaluate the overall balance of the gut ecosystem. Get insights into your health, digestion, and how your microbiome affects all aspects of your body. Stop suffering. Call Renee now at 847-207-2034 or visit thetummywhisperer.com. That number is 847-207-2034. Let's get you feeling better. The Tummy Whisperer. Well, June is Pride Month, and all of us who believe in freedom and equality are speaking out for LGBTQ plus rights. But did you know there's a way to raise your voice for equality every month? In fact, every day. It's your phone if you use Credo Mobile. Credo Mobile has donated over $15 million to nonprofits working for equal rights, groups like National LGBTQ Task Force, Transgender Law Center, and the ACLU. And they'll continue to do so because they don't abandon their values when the political wind shifts. They stand for LGBTQ plus people during Pride Month and every month. If you're ready to switch, it's so easy to do. Here's how you make a difference. Go to credomobile.com. WCPT listeners can get 25% off your service for 2 years if you use the code WCPT25. Learn more at credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. The best way to give back is to go to credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. Don't forget, type in your code WCPT25.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dwayne Kennedy, and sitting with me is Adam Burke.
Hello.
Lady B.
Hello.
And future Congressman John McCombs.
Hola.
Yeah, everybody. And you're also listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, not only on 820 AM, Heartland Signal, Chicago. You're listening in on Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle, Washington. And I will be in Seattle tomorrow night at the Neptune Theater opening for one W. Kamau Bell on his Who's With Me tour. So that should be cool.
Also, if they have any questions, please call into the Credo mobile phone and text line, 773-763 9279. That's Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com and check out our exclusive live broadcast of the Chicago Pride Parade, sponsored by Credo Mobile, this Sunday, June 29th, 11 to 2 p.m. Central.
Credo! What up, Credo? Ain't nothing happening. Let's take this call. This is Dennis in Chicago who wants to comment on Jim's comment. Dennis.
Good afternoon, guys.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Oh, fine and dandy. How are you?
Good. Just listening. I wanted to respond to something that Jim said earlier. He said he wasn't sure why the conflict is happening between Israel and Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can share with him that the main reason why this all started is because Hamas murdered 1,000 Jews and is still holding Israeli hostages and refusing to release them. That's a big part of why this is going on. It's terrible. I don't like it either. But somebody has to budge somehow.
Yes.
Now, what do you think?
Dennis, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The whole thing is bigger than that's horrible, but it's bigger than my understanding in the sense of, and the Palestinians and the Jews, whomever, these things have gone on for thousands and thousands of years. To me, it just seems it's exasperating. Yeah. I don't know what the solution is. I don't think killing and then revenge killing and then this kill. It doesn't seem like it's leading anywhere. I don't. I'm not an expert on that, man. So I don't. Of course, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult. It's one of those difficult things because there's this weird Venn diagram where, you're always going to know someone who's closer to on either side. Do you know what I mean? And if you're someone who lives in America, and there's so much pontificating about it and so on and so forth. But I think what becomes difficult for people is the notion that there are certain images that are people getting, and they have a feeling that their tax dollars are somehow going towards creating those images. Now, whatever degree that is right or wrong, I think that's what starts kind of getting people riled up about it. And they also, I think at the end of I think Jim's point was more about, in most conflicts over the past 100 years, there has been some agreement on how humanitarian aid gets to people who need it, and this the story that seems to be happening is for some reason that humanitarian aid isn't getting to people that are caught in the middle, and I think that's what people are questioning more than the larger, the larger origins of the conflict. That makes sense.
It does, right. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess.
It's a mess. I think that's right. That's one thing we can all agree upon.
That sums it up, Dennis.
I just want to chime in really quick there to just say that, like, we keep, we keep perpetuating this cycle of violence, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so we, the people we bomb today, their children grow up to be the people that are going to kill us tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then we kill them, they kill us, we kill them. And, it just keeps getting this cycle repeated again and again and again. And, to say like violence, justifies more violence, I mean, I was in the Marine Corps myself. I trained for war. So, this stuff does hit home to me. And at the same time, I understand, like, we are still dealing with the fallout of two engagements in the Middle East, just from the United States side in Iraq and Afghanistan. And, it's just something that keeps perpetuating itself. So, like, to say like we can get out of this by bombing our way out of it, like it's just not realistic.
I think there was an Irish priest who once said regarding sectarian violence in the north of Ireland. He once said at some point someone's got to stop saying "what about," because and look, a death is a death. On either side, and I understand, but at some point someone's got to kind of draw a line in the sand, and there are countries that have done this. There are countries that have figured out peace and reconciliation formats. There are countries that have kind of figured out an imperfect but a way forward, and hopefully that's something that can be figured out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for your call, Dennis. I think he just clicked off, but thank you, Dennis. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's exasperating to me. I mean, right. And then to me, at some point, it's beyond religion or circumstance. People just get addicted to violence. Yeah. As a response. I mean, it's like, if you have a gun, anybody who has a gun is going to, not anybody, but you're going to find a reason to use it. If you're prone to violence, then you're going to find a reason to exact violence, and it's, like I said, this becomes an addictive cycle.
And and to be clear, this is true of both sides, because paramilitaries, depending on which side you're on, if you want to call them terrorists, you want to call them freedom fighters. Right. There are some paramilitary organizations for whom this becomes a way of life, and it becomes how they fund their life. Right. And it's like, well, hold on. Is this about getting goals, or is this about you just having this kind of identity? You know what I mean? This identity of because then that's not what anyone's agreed to.
Especially when you're deprived of opportunity, right? So I mean, you see it with street gangs, right? Like, who's the coolest dude on the block? It's the guy, the people who have the power, right? So if you're the one walking around with a gun and everybody's showing you respect, then you're like, yeah, I want to be that. I want to be the guy who gets the respect. That's your opportunity there, because you don't see any other opportunity to improve your life. Right. So, like I said, it just keeps perpetuating itself.
And then people will always say, and then people, for some reason, it's crazy too, on either side, again, absolutely on either side, people will find a way to blame the regular civilians and the populace. Well, why do you put up with them? It's well, he has a gun. Right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm not really putting up with it, but you know what I mean? I'm not that great at debate where I can talk somebody out of shooting me.
So we're gonna drop a bomb on your entire neighborhood because that guy with a gun lives there.
Man. I mean, on both sides. It's, you've had experience. I grew up in occupied territory. It's it is nuanced, and that's why when anyone in America kind of has a response to it, people are like, well, this, and I'm like, absolutely. There's people who are always going to be closer to this and know more about it, but I think I think we can all speak to like, well, this is why I feel away because an image is an image, you know what I mean? And like,
we are obsessed as a society, I think, with wanting war to be this very clean cut thing. We think even like World War II, we're like, okay, yeah, we have these two, these countries that are against each other, and then they fight, and then they're done. And it's like, no, the effects of these wars, the effects that happen, they precipitate after the treaties are signed.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a sense, the Civil War didn't end with the treaty in 1869. I mean, it's still the race war in this country is still going on.
Yeah,
all the way from 1619 or whenever.
How many freed African Americans? How many white Republicans were assassinated, lynched after the end of the Civil War?
Right.
So all that stuff, those effects are felt for decades. I mean, at least like decades afterwards.
Right.
Because the point is, not everybody signs the treaty. Like a bunch of guys, 11 guys get in a room and they go, close enough.
Yeah.
And then
no harm, no foul.
You agree to what?
Right. Yeah. And meanwhile, some guys like, I don't have legs anymore.
Right.
So.
Sorry, not to laugh at that, but.
Right. Well,
But yeah, that is the thing. It's like, it's nuts. It's break time, I think.
You got about 45 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Miss B.
Are you reading your promos or credos or street credos?
Yeah, don't mind you can call into the Credo text line, which is 773. Have I gotten even close to it? 763-927-8. Let's say that. I need to take an eye test.
Oh, yeah. You were just listening to Blind Adam Burke.
And, the lamest, whitest blues player.
right. He played spoons here in Chicago and on Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle. And we will be right back after this.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
Both men and women can have hormone deficiencies. And according to Dr. John Gray, the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, the reason may be simple.
It's one of these spiraling downward cycles. If you don't get enough sleep, you don't make enough hormones. If you don't make enough hormones, then you don't sleep well. And you don't get enough sleep, then you make less hormones. So it's important that we break the cycle and start getting more sleep. One of the tips, particularly for women whose stress levels are much higher than men's, if you take a bath, warm water bath, comfortably hot, whatever for you, for 30 minutes, it will lower your cortisol levels. And when cortisol levels go down in a woman, then her hormones start to go into balance. The estrogen-progesterone balance can start restoring itself.
With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Pentagon leaders laid out new details about military tactics and explosives to bolster their argument that U.S. attacks destroyed key Iranian nuclear facilities. Donna Warder has a report.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is calling the U.S. attack on 3 Iranian nuclear sites as game-changing and historic, and he chastised the media for what he says was a leaked preliminary report that suggested the U.S. attack had only set Iran back a mere months.
Classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad, and what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers.
Joint Chiefs Chairman Dan Kane says the U.S. military's target at Iran's Fordo nuclear site was its ventilation shafts.
All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go.
When asked whether Iran moved any highly enriched uranium from Fordo to another site before the U.S. attack, Hegseth would only say, "We're looking at all aspects of intelligence and making sure we have a sense of what was where." Donna Warder, Washington.
The government's final estimate of first quarter economic growth came in worse than earlier estimates, the economy shrinking at a 0.5% annual pace from January through March. but there were also a couple of more upbeat reports. Durable goods orders grew more than expected in May. Fewer Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week. And Alex Vega reports mortgage rates have eased again.
Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the average rate on a 30-year mortgage fell this week to 6.77%, the fourth consecutive weekly decline. A welcome trend for home shoppers at a time when elevated borrowing costs remain a drag on the housing market. I'm Alex Vega.
Stocks rallied. The S&P gained 0.8%, closing just below its all-time high. The Dow rose 404 points, while the Nasdaq added about 1%. This is AP News. Gethin Coolbaugh recaps last night's NBA draft.
Selected with the top pick, Cooper Flagg is officially headed to the Mavericks.
I just feel blessed for the way it all worked out.
The 18-year-old forward played one season at Duke, where he averaged 19.2 points and was named Men's College Player of the Year.
It feels surreal. I'm just playing the moments back in my head, standing up, hearing my name, and it went so fast. Like it feels like a blur.
The Newport, Maine native is the second player born in Maine to be drafted.
It means a lot to me, to have the support of the whole state.
He joins a Dallas team that was eliminated in the Western Conference play-in tournament.
I think my mindset has always been to be a winner. So I'm going to try and win, as hard as I can anywhere I go.
Dylan Harper went second overall to the Spurs. VJ Edgecombe was selected third by the 76ers. Con Kneppel went fourth to the Hornets. Ace Bailey was taken fifth by the Jazz. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Look for mainly cloudy skies tonight with a chance of scattered showers and storms, a low temperature of 75 degrees. Sunny on Friday with a chance of afternoon thunderstorms and a high of 86, with winds out of the southwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Saturday, sunny and a high temperature of 74. Sunday, scattered showers and storms with a high of 93. Monday, chance of storms and a high temperature of 88. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 93.
These are real stories of speech-language pathologists and the people they helped. He was in his 30s.
55 and far from home.
15 years old with multiple disabilities.
It was a traumatic brain injury.
He's bilingual but lost his English after the stroke.
Several surgeries led to his swallowing disorder.
His goal was to get back to work.
I used French during therapy.
Others almost gave up on the goal of him eating.
Oh, he was dedicated.
Together, we built his life back.
Social interaction was the key to helping him.
And he made it back to work.
When he ate, his friends cheered.
Everyone has the right to communicate.
And later, he was able to travel across the world to his family.
Are you or someone you know experiencing a speech, language, or swallowing disorder? An ASHA-certified speech-language pathologist can help. Visit us at asha.org/public.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
All right. Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dwayne Kennedy, sitting in for Patti. Patti is fighting crime in Gotham City. She will not be here today. I'm sitting in with the man,
Adam Burke,
the woman,
Lady B,
and the candidate,
John McCombs.
Udick. And you are listening to WCPT 820 AM Heartland Signal. Also, you're listening to the Driving Home with Patti Vasquez on Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW Seattle. And also, we'd like to welcome our listeners at the KTNF AM 950 and 11 Minnesota. Yes. what did I say? KTNF AM 950 in Minnesota. Also, we are brought to you by Minocqua Brewing, Source Solar.
How come you can say Minocqua, no problem?
I know, but the brewing is like I've been sampling the product. Minocqua Brewing. I'll tell you what your problem is. And kids above all, because without the kids, ladies and gentlemen, you just have peace of mind. Listen, that's not the point. Kids above all, because kids need people too.
Came up with something to finally.
It was better when it was incomplete.
Yeah, I know. Hey, don't take that personally, the kids. But, you know.
That slogan was like the Game of Thrones. It was better when we didn't know how it ended.
Yeah, well, I just let it hanging out there. But we were talking to John, the candidate. But, okay, so John, you're a candidate for Congress, but also you are a stand-up.
That's correct.
So how are you, what's the plan once you get elected to, how are you going to reconcile that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, stand-up has to take a backseat to actually running for office. I mean, first off, let's focus on the candidacy, and when I actually get elected, we'll see, like, I mean, obviously, there's going to be some considerations made. I mean, I love doing stand-up, but also what I've said is, like, I don't consider politics a career. You know, so I've made term limits a core tenet of my candidacy as well, to say, like, look, I'm not in this to be in a career, because frankly, I don't believe in career politicians.
Oh, you know what? That's your campaign slogan. John McCombs, I won't be here long.
I'm going to end on this.
I came to bounce. John McCombs for Congress. Well, I tell you what, when you get elected, brother, can you pass a law to get Adam and I more work as comedians?
I think so. I think I could do that. I don't know. You made some crazy comments towards the kids. So
I don't know if you heard this, John, but I love the kids. I don't know what you heard, you know. But you were talking about something that was interesting with the prison system, the penal system. First of all, I think if you gotta stop calling it the penal system, that's the first thing. That's anything involving peens, it's gonna be bad news. But
the phallic system.
Yeah. You know, I always think change it to the vaginal system. That's more nurturing. You know what I mean? People will come out more empathetic. That's not the point.
Is this your audition to be his head of communications? Because I don't know if you're nailing this audition.
No, I think I'm fired.
We did talk about your interview skills during the break.
But you were saying in like Finland and Sweden and Holland, and you know how their system is built on actually rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And not revenge. Do you think that has something to do with the fact that everybody there is white?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been there, and I'll tell you what, not everybody there is white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's in prison?
Not even that.
Okay. What I'm saying is that I wonder if lingering racial animus also has something to do with why our system is as jacked as it is. If you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm asking.
That's a good question. I mean, there probably some. I'm not sure if there is that. I'm sure that's a factor, but I'm not sure if that's a primary driver.
Okay,
you know, because I mean, at some point, it is just it's a business now.
Yeah,
it's a business. So right now, the bottom line is just making money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to that point, I think you're right in the sense that. Because one big business that has shifted things is the business of legalized marijuana, right? And because like so many, there's I don't have the exact numbers, but the percentage rates of the black population in our carceral system, the amount of people who are there on non-violent drug offenses, was because there was a concerted effort to like kind of manage populations through this kind of nonsense, this war on drugs, which were like, and getting people for like, you know, minimal amounts and just kind of using it as a way to sort of like quote unquote clean up neighborhoods.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think you're absolutely right. It's like when you had a system that spent 20 years doing that, we're still overcoming that. And then for people, you know, for some of the people, I'm not going to name names, but you know who they are, some of the people to go like, oh, can you believe that we used to have these policies? It's like, I can believe you voted for them in the 80s and 90s.
Right. Can you believe I'm making millions as a legalized marijuana vendor because I paid $50,000 for to even be considered to. That was a thing. If you wanted to even get a license, you had to pay like a $50,000 fee for them to even decide whether they were a $50,000 non-refundable fee to them to decide whether you were even eligible for a license or not. We've decided that you don't really qualify, but thanks for the 50 stacks. Wait a minute.
And then, you talk about reparations. What about the people who are who did like a 10-year stretch for something that is now the cornerstone of a North Side neighborhood? You can like tie your dogs up outside when you go and get that's insane. How is there not debt accrued on that?
I don't know, man. Well, when John gets in office.
That's a good point. And it's especially to some of the states that don't want to legalize it. That's a consideration for them too. Is like, okay, well, now we have to expunge all these records. Do we owe restitution to all the people that were incarcerated? Like, these are all factors that they're taking into account of saying, hey, we just don't want to pay for what we did.
Right.
Lack of accountability? I don't know. Maybe. Perhaps. John.
Who, us?
Yeah.
America? That doesn't sound like
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know what fantasy you live in, but
I've never done anything wrong ever.
Man, but so basically, man, it seems as if your basic nature is you're a person of service.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to put that, like, public service should be that. It should be a service, right? Like I said, not a career, it's service, right? So I want to be actually out with people doing the grassroots stuff. I've been volunteering with some organizations in various communities in South Side and West Side. I worked at an urban farm, volunteered for a morning, volunteered to help clean out some storage lockers for a LGBTQ+IA organization. So this is the type of stuff, this type of work that is available, especially when people come and ask me hey, I'm frustrated, what can I do? And I'm like, look, there are already organizations, grassroots organizations doing work, and I guarantee you're gonna feel better if you're focused on all the terrible things happening in the world. You're gonna feel better if you get plugged into these organizations and actually do something tangible for somebody else, because that's ultimately what's going to help people.
Totally agree.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so if people want to help you, where can they go to help?
Yeah, so you go to my website, John, for the people, that's number 4, thepeople.com. You can also, you can find me, I'll be doing a YouTube AMA tomorrow at noon. So my YouTube handle, John MC 2026. Also, I'm going to be at the Shop Hair and Skin Studio Saturday at noon for getting my hair cut. Because I'm lined up, it's pretty crooked right now. But I'm going to be on Instagram Live.
John McCombs, my hairline may be crooked, but I'm not.
There, that's the tagline right there. That's the tagline. But I'm going to be at that barbershop getting my hair cut. And also, I'm going to be on Instagram Live just talking to people out there. And then lastly, Saturday, also from 3 to 4 p.m., I'm going to be running the 606. So I'll be starting at the Levitt entrance, so Levitt in Milwaukee at 3 p.m. Then we'll run down to Walsh Park, be there at 3:30, kind of just talk to people for a good minute, and then we'll run back.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. That's good. Now, do you have a staff? Are you putting the staff together? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my principal campaign committee, but also, we're open to volunteers. Would love to get more volunteers. Anybody who's interested in being a part of the campaign or wants to learn more or, just wants to help people. Feel free to go to my website. There's a Discord server up there. You can click on volunteer and get plugged in, and we will have events that you can get involved with. And we've got some great organizations we're going to be working with later on throughout the campaign that we're really excited to do some good work with.
That's great, man. That's great. I mean, it's one of, like so many positions that somebody has to do it or somebody needs it, but it's like I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But no, that the fact that you're doing that, man.
I will say, you bring up a great point where so much of our political discourse happens online or happens away from people.
Yeah.
And people also, they're afraid of being in a bubble. But I do think if you the simple act of volunteering for something, and sometimes when it's like if you're just handing out sandwiches at something, or like you're just like, you know, there's that great organization, My Block, My City, you know, like that they'll do stuff like that where you just go to these events and you're kind of like, I don't see all this division that I'm hearing so much about, you know what I mean? Where like, people are just kind of a lot chiller than my phone is telling me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When you talk to people face to face, like it's a totally different conversation, and you connect that humanity to that individual. That's why I hate labels. I hate when people are like, that person's a progressive or a conservative, yada, yada. And it strips away the humanity from a person where, like, you might have a conservative who delivers your mail. You might have a liberal who fixes your sink. You know, these are all people. At the end of the day, they're people first, right? So, like, that's what we have to focus on.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, it's an important thing, you know, and I wish you all the best. I was going to ask you, your next event is, you said you.
So doing a YouTube Ask Me Anything tomorrow at noon. So, like I said, you go to my YouTube channel, or you can find it by going to my website, john4thepeople.com. So we'll have a link there, and you can RSVP for it. And we'll be taking questions.
So, and when should Dwayne check back in with you about his getting the position as head of communications?
I don't know. Adam, you hit me with that slogan, like hairline might be crooked, but he's not. That I think that takes the cake, man.
I'm sorry, and it's a dog-eat-dog world, Dwayne. I'm sorry, man.
But John, what about the kids?
You couldn't finish your kids' slogan, and I thought, I don't know, I got to step in.
All right. Hey, well, listen, man. Well, we thank you for coming by. I mean, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but I know you're busy. You got other stuff.
I think a fake round of applause for John McCombs.
Yeah.
I feel like I earned that one.
Yeah. Well, good, man. So that was John McCombs. You were probably listening to him on the West Coast on Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle. If you're in town, vote for John. Also, we have our listeners in KTNF AM 950 in Minnesota. And are we taking a break? Yeah, we're going to take a break. Come back for more with Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Misinformation is running rampant in just about every corner of the internet, particularly on social media. As a doctor and someone who's been a journalist for more than 20 years, I sometimes cannot believe what I read online, and that so many people then believe it. A new study out of the University of Oxford in the UK found that debunking these untruths can help, but that pre-bunking is even better. You basically build an immunity to manipulation before you're exposed to false claims. That way, these things don't get stuck in your head. Now, if you want to make sure that you're not falling for misinformation, first and foremost, slow down after you read or watch something to process the information carefully before you start reacting emotionally. Really important. Also, seek out a source that you trust to verify facts, and always consider someone's motives. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez. Your progressive talk fuels the ride.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dwayne Kennedy with my partner,
Adam Burke.
And the one and only
Lady B, the Boricua.
Yeah. Say that again, Lady B.
La Boricua.
La Boricua. Yes. Woo! Come on, people. That's what I'm talking about. And we had just left the studio, John McCombs, comedian, but now candidate for the 7th District of Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we.
I was going to say, if you have any questions for us, you can call on the Credo phone and text line, which is 773-763-9278. Brought to you by Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Guess where we live?
Well, with all people?
And on the planet. We live on this planet, yeah. Visit credomobile.com and listen to WCPT's exclusive live broadcast of the Chicago Pride Parade, sponsored by Credo Mobile, this Sunday, June 29th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. We'll be covering that. And as it'll be listen live on WCPT as Ellen Miller described the excitement with special guest Ken Major Beal, who was here yesterday. Check out our live broadcast on Sunday, brought to you again by Credo Mobile.
And you were just listening to Adam Burke here on WCPT in 8:20 a.m. in Chicago, but also you were listening to him on Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle, and also on KTNF AM 950 Minnesota Heartland Signal. Adam. Oh man!
Yeah, we knocked out this. We knocked out those reads.
Yeah, we knocked out those reads.
We were talking about yesterday. We were talking about the candidate that won. Speaking of candidates, John McCombs' candidate. Speaking of the candidate that won the New York mayoral primary yesterday, and you know he's a good candidate because the billionaires are already riled up. So I love how billionaires are not even being discreet about it anymore. This guy, I gotta look up his name, but
Bill Ackman. Is it Bill Ackman?
Yeah, Bill Ackman's
he's a jerk.
He goes, if anyone else can run against this guy, I'm ready to throw money away.
And I'm ready to throw money anybody's way who can tell Bill Ackman to shut the F up. Yeah, what was his point?
It's just he's going to be horrible for business. It is funny when I do like when businessmen they completely fill in my view of it, Mr. Moneybags Monopoly, bad for business. What do you mean by that? The business of me getting another yacht.
Yeah. He's going to let people who can't afford stuff be able to afford stuff. We can't have that.
Hey, how come every time you talk, lightning crashes behind you?
Right.
Why are you
and the earth
that?
cracks underneath you, and then light shoots up and lava and Well, here's the thing I want to know, man. So his proposal is, amongst many, is that people will be able to ride the buses for free.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
I think the notion is, well, I think, like, Paris has done this. They don't have free public transportation, but I think the notion is that, like, basically, there is this whole thing of, they'll always talk about New York traffic. And it's like,
right.
There's notion of people saying, I'm in traffic. It's like, well, you are traffic, right? You are the thing. And I think they're trying to de-incentivize driving everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so crazy to me, like in New York, the amount of people who still, like, drive around. But I think the notion is if you tax driving and if you tax things that are, exorbitantly pollutant, then that goes into a municipal fund that will allow for. I mean, cities have done this. I think it was in Raleigh, Durham. The buses are free. You just, and it was last time I was there anyway.
Yeah, I heard that in Boston as well.
Boston's doing it.
I was just in Boston, man. I didn't even know that. I would have been just riding bus all over the place.
I'm a public transportation guy.
You are.
Yeah, I've always taken it, and I will say this. I mean, you think about it, like even today, whatever Chicago is doing, right or wrong, but like I think a bus trip has been $275 it's either been $250 or $275 for the past 10 years.
Oh wow!
So. Yeah, I know. I don't know like where CTA is with the budget. I know the city in general is like, but I think it's just about moving money around for like. At the end of the day, do you want people to be able to get to work?
Yeah, right. Like you said, I guess reallocating taxes from whatever to whatever. But just like in Canada, that's why healthcare is free. But there's the taxes from whatever they're getting it from, and then they reallocate it to healthcare, and people can just get cheap healthcare.
If anyone would like to call in and fill in the Grand Canyon-sized gaps that Dwayne and I clearly have, we don't know what I think what Dwayne and I were.
If anybody would like to call in and tell us what we're talking about, because I don't know what the F I'm talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, I again, it is sort of, but I think it is one of those things where, like, ridership is so huge, and it's. Again, if it's like, it's almost like if it's only cost $3, would it be that big of a leap to get it to zero? You know what I mean? If you just kind of switch what you prioritize as a city.
Well, okay, but okay, yes, but because ridership in New York, right, is massive on just the buses, not even the subway.
Yeah.
So how can you absorb the hit of losing that income? And where's that income going to come from for maintenance and operations? You know what I mean? How does that work? I don't know.
Next time, let's get that mayoral.
Yeah. Can John come back? Oh, he didn't know either. Right.
Yeah, if anyone knows. But yeah, I mean, it does sound like a way to go,
You know what this sounds like?
What?
Two comedians talking about how public transportation works. Not good.
Although, I mean, I am late to everything, so.
Well, but you get there, man.
I get there.
On public transportation.
I'm sweaty and bleeding, but.
Yeah. You know what? To your credit, man, the fact that you travel almost exclusively on public transportation.
I'll take Ubers.
Or Uber, but I'm saying you don't drive.
I don't drive. No,
yeah.
I've never learned how to drive.
No interest. You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything.
I don't know. I think I'm too inattentive.
Oh, huh.
So, I thought about this. I saw this thing. They were talking about AI, about automated driving, and they were talking about how like. Oh, it's that time. You know what? Let's talk about it when we come back.
Let's talk when we come back. You're listening to WCPT, 820 AM Heartland Signal.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Look for mainly cloudy skies tonight with a chance of scattered showers and storms, a low temperature of 75 degrees. Sunny on Friday with a chance of afternoon thunderstorms and a high of 86, with winds out of the southwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Saturday, sunny and a high temperature of 74. Sunday, scattered showers and storms with a high of 93. Monday, chance of storms and a high temperature of 88. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 93.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is often laced into illicit drugs and used to make fake versions of prescription pills. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. Suppliers mix fentanyl into their products because it's potent and cheap, and the dealer might not even know. Keep yourself and others safe by knowing the real deal on fentanyl. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dwayne Kennedy, sitting in with
Adam Burke.
And also
Lady B.
Yes, the team. Man,
the unstoppable, the highly stoppable team.
The three of us together, we can't almost be stopped.
We can be hindered.
Yes, and somewhat dissuaded. Listen, and you're also listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, 820 AM Heartland Signal in Chicago, but you're listening also on the West Coast with Alternative Talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle and also KTNF AM 950 in Minnesota.
Also, I would be remiss if I didn't remind the good people that tomorrow on Chew's Views, Richard Chew will be joined by Karen Byrne, co-host of the True Blue Politics podcast, Sherman Delisle Thomas, brand ambassador and social media chief at the DuSable Black History Museum, and Charles Shute, author of A True Story of a Catholic Priest, Why I Got In, Why I Got Out, and What I Learned Through It All. That's Chew Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT, 8:20 a.m. the Heartland Signal website. Tune in, YouTube, and Facebook.
Oh, man. Okay, that sounds interesting. Why I got in, why I got out. Priestin'.
Yeah.
Priestin' ain't easy. You dig?
I've never heard it referred to like Priestin' with an apostrophe. That sounds like a cool 80s movie. Like Michael J. Fox is Priestin'. Oh, boy.
Bless you. There used to be a running back in the, what was it, in the, I think it was in the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s. Great running back for the Kansas City Chiefs named Priest Holmes. He was good. Yeah, Priest. I always thought it was a cool
strong name.
Yeah, that is,
Priest.
man. Yeah,
especially if you're not particularly religious.
Yes,
it's cool.
That's a cool name, man. That name would take you places.
Yeah,
it would like drag you along.
Yeah.
Who can help us? There's Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes, you gotta be able to do something. But I'm just the gardener. Come on, Priest.
Priest Holmes? You mean rectory? No, that's his name.
Right. Yeah, man. But what were we? Oh, let's take this call, Adam, and then we'll get back to our nonsense. Yes. Steve in Chicago. Hey, Steve.
Hey, I just wanted to chime in about the question about how you would fund free buses.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Thank God, because I think you heard us floundering.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going in my report to Patti. She's gonna get a whole.
Oh no.
But isn't it curious that nobody ever goes, Well, you need roads that you can drive on for free. How are we going to pay for that? Who's going to pay them? Who's going to clean them? Who's going to put up lights so that people don't run into each other? How are we going to, who's going to pay for the signs, for the speed limit, and the stop signs, and all that?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, no. That's
so what's the answer?
Well, I think he's saying that
in the same way. It comes out of our taxes because if you have people who can get to work and can get to stores and can get to theaters and movies and et cetera, they're going to be making money. They're going to be spending money. If somebody can't take a job because they can't afford to get to the job, well, they're never going to make money. They're never going to pay taxes.
So, where will they be getting those taxes from to finance and subsidize the public transportation system?
No, but he's saying that we're already making that system work for roads. But those.
How are we paying for the roads?
That's what I'm asking.
And we keep building.
Well, that comes from a variety of sources. It comes from gas taxes.
I was going to say, I want to know what the sources are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where the people who really specialize in that kind of thing sit down and work it out and figure it out.
Okay.
But I'm always amused when people dismiss, well, we can't do that because it can't be free, and yet you get in your Rolls Royce and you drive down the street.
Hey, Steve, don't bring my Rolls Royce into this, brother. My Rolls Royce has got nothing to do with it. You just keep my business out of it.
You mean Charlie?
You just talk about yourself, Steve.
And yes, it only gets 9 miles per gallon.
Yes. Yeah, it only gets 9.
But it looks damn good.
Yeah. It only gets 9 gas stations per mile. But that's none of your business, Steve.
You Bolshevik.
Yeah. Thank you. But no, I get it because I knew it was going to have to come out of taxes, but I was just wondering where those taxes were going to come from.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Again, we figure out a way to pay for roads. We figure out a way to pay for airports. When you get to the airport, they don't go, oh, before you get on your plane, you have to pay for the use of the airport. No,
right.
it's all figured out somehow in the how you're charged for this or that.
Yeah.
But it's whenever and it's very deliberate. I mean, the auto companies.
Oh,
and
man.
believe me, I love cars and I still drive. But the auto companies in the 40s and 50s made a really concerted effort to let's get rid of buses. Let's get rid of intercity transport. Let's get rid of trains.
Yeah.
We want to get people in cars so they'll buy our product.
Right. They did that everywhere, but especially in L.A., man.
But it's also it's also. I mean, he brings up a great point. It's also like. It's just whatever lobby is winning at the moment. Because in the 1890s, I mean, if you look at some of the greatest corruption stories in the 1890s and like the people who basically owned cities, they were what was called traction companies back then, like what we used to call tram cars and that kind of things. And then traction companies used to own San Francisco, used to own Chicago basically, and New York, places like that. But then, of course, as
all
that
big trolley money.
Big trolley money, big trolley.
Yeah,
but,
big trolley.
It sounds silly, but it's true. But I think he brings up a great point. It's like the car manufacturers were like, what about an interstate? I mean, interstates were such an unbelievably expensive.
Yeah.
It used to, I mean, you look at the rail system in America, that rail system was largely built, I believe, by private enterprise.
Yeah.
But the interstate system was built, the federal government built that.
Yeah.
For the benefit of and at the insistence of car companies.
Do you know that when they started building the interstate and Illinois had built this part, Michigan had built this part, Indiana, what a shocker, was dragging their feet because they didn't see the value and had to be threatened to be sued by the United States government. Oh, boy. Oh, Indiana, will you always be 1812?
Yeah, and you know where we got the idea for the interstate?
No.
Yes, from Germany.
Yeah. When Eisenhower was over, after they conquered Germany, they were like, look at these great high-quality highways that you can run tanks down without damaging them, and you can land planes on if you need to.
Yes.
So, in addition to let's get people in their cars, it was also, what if there's a war on the West Coast? How do we get everything to the West Coast really
quickly?
When
will we ever need to drive tanks down city roads? Only a madman would have tanks.
Exactly.
Right. I can't imagine that happening until November.
Squeaky, 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 squeaky.
Right. Well, when Eisenhower was there, he said, man, how did these Nazis get here so fast? They took the highway.
Well, there was also no speed limit either.
Well, and there still isn't on the Autobahn. That's the whole thing. And that's why the quality of the cars was so much better. But, hey, Steve, hey, man, thank you for calling and clearing that up a little bit. And let me tell you something, brother, but if you ever bring up my Rolls Royce,
it's a sweet ride.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
All right. Man, okay, that's cool. That clears it up a little bit. That argument was brought to you by Alternative Talk on 1150 KKNW in Seattle. Oh no, I mean that you could hear that argument on Alternative. It was brought to you by me because I had a little too much Minocqua Brewing. Yeah.
And if you wanna correct us and anything else that we're clearly getting wrong, please call in at the Credo phone and text line 773-763-9278. Once again, brought to you by Credo, a progressive phone company that's better for all the people and the planet, which again is where we live.
That's what you tell me. I don't know, brother.
Visit credomobile.com and listen to WCPT's exclusive live broadcast of the Chicago Pride Parade, sponsored by the very same Credo Mobile, this Sunday, June 29th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central.
Wasn't Credo a character in the Hobbit?
That's Frodo.
Oh, okay.
Credo is almost a cooler nickname as Priest. Have you met two guys called Credo and Priest?
Yeah. Adam, you know what? Don't say anything more about that, brother. That's what we're going to develop into a movie.
Credo and Priest.
This looks like a job for Credo and Priest. Remember how they used to do that in the 70s? They did whatever, peanut butter. I'm James Peanut Butter, and I'm Tony Jelly.
Yeah.
The
ampersand was doing a lot of heavy lifting, and that big and sign was doing a lot of just, give me he's a this, and she's a what?
Right. I always thought it'd be a cool one to be like a Asian cat and a brother. It'd be like James 2 and Roland Fro. Together they're to and fro. Oh, I'm still working it out. Listen.
Hey, I know that's such a good idea. All of you want to steal it, but
right. All no callers who've checked in.
To and fro, but they we're froing too.
Yeah. What? Who do you? Okay.
We're James and John.
Yeah. If you weren't doing stand up?
Yeah.
What would you be doing?
I wouldn't be running for Congress because
man.
That gentleman had poise, and I don't have any poise. I'm all poised out.
I'm poised out. Yeah, man. All credit to John because
he had his list of events all ready to go, and he read them out like a pro. And I've failed to read out a phone number 9 times.
Hey, what the heck, man? Have you heard me over here stumbling and bumbling and fumbling?
I think. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
A comedian, actually.
You did really?
When I was, very, very young, I remember watching comedy on TV, stand up, and loving it, and think that's what I wanted to do. I got older, kind of put that away, got a little older than that, and said, hey, man, I'm not doing anything else. Let me give this a shot. And now I'm in it.
When I was very young, coincidentally enough, I apparently wanted to be a priest.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. You're kind of a righteous cat. Sort of principled. Yeah. And then but when did you lose interest in that?
When I found out priests weren't any of those things.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, no, I'm just kidding. No shade to any priests.
Priests will be all right.
Priests will be fine.
Yeah, you got God to depend on. What are we doing? I don't know. Hey, Lady B, how you doing? Okay, do we have to go to break?
Yeah.
Okay, we will be right back with more talk on WCPT, 820 AM, Heartland Signal, and also Alternative Talk, 1150 KKNW, and KTNF AM 950, Minnesota.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
Celebrate the culmination of Pride Month in Chicago by attending the Chicago Pride Parade, a celebration of love and unity on Sunday, June 29th. This year's theme, United in Pride, highlights the power of coming together, embracing our diversity, and championing love and equality as one united force. Together, we are unstoppable. You can watch anywhere along the route, from Broadway and Grace to Diversity and Sheridan. For more information, visit pridechicago.org and make sure to keep your eyes out for the WCPT float. If you can't attend the parade in person, you can listen live as Scott Duff and Ellen Miller describe all the excitement on WCPT 820 on Sunday, June 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The WCPT live parade broadcast is sponsored by the Center in Halstead and by Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. WCPT 820, your Pride station in Chicago.
Is credit card or other debt making it difficult to pay your rent or mortgage? Home insecurity is often the unintended consequence of an inability to pay mounting credit card debt, student loans, or medical debt. But by working with a nonprofit credit counselor, you can avoid or reduce the risk of eviction or foreclosure while tackling debt for good. For more information about how nonprofit credit counseling can help, visit nfcc.org. Made possible in part by the nonprofit Wells Fargo Foundation.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
No detours, no distractions, just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dwayne Kennedy sitting in for Patti today along with
Adam Burke
and
Lady B.
Yes, thank you all. And you are also listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, not only on 820 AM WCPT, where you're listening to an alternative talk 1150 KKNW in Seattle, and also KTNF AM 950 in Minnesota. And what were we talking about, Adam?
Oh, well, I was just looking at the news, and I was reminded of this story. So apparently there's a fireball in Georgia.
Yeah.
Which isn't someone having a shot. It's they don't know if it's a meteor or space junk, which is kind of scary. But it reminded me, I'm trying to look up the name of the town, but I was in Australia about 20 years ago, and we were passing through this really small, tiny town. I had one of those really awesome Australian names. But anyway, they had this exhibit there, and a bit of, you remember Skylab? Do you remember NASA had Skylab? So a bit of Skylab fell out of the sky, and it landed
in Australia?
In this tiny town in Australia. Man, I wish I could remember the name of it. I'm not finding it right now. But what and they had a whole little exhibit about it. What the Australians did is they fined NASA $400 for littering.
Hilarious.
That's such an Australian. Oh, mate, you lost a bit of your Skylab.
Yeah. How come there's stuff like that? I guess it lands in the U.S. sometimes, occasionally, too. But I always hear about when something like that happens, it lands in Australia or Guam or some,
Yeah. It never, but it's we always forget how much a lot of it just falls in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because,
because the ocean is vast.
The ocean is vast. Again, before Dwayne and I delineate how little we know about the ocean, if anyone knows about but does anyone know if we've got any meteor experts? Does anyone know how likely are you to get hit by? Are you more likely to get hit by a meteor or a piece of space junk? Because space junk burns up, I think.
Yeah, most of that stuff disintegrates in the atmosphere right before it hits the surface of the Earth.
Yeah, that's why it's frequently referred to as my career, because it
disintegrates.
It burns brightly quickly, and then lands somewhere no one's ever heard of.
Man, woo! Remember when we had hope? That was a crazy time.
That was a hell of a weekend.
Yeah,
when we had hope.
Man, no, man, I don't know. Would you ever take one of those rides in the?
Oh, one of the Bezos space rides,
the space peen.
Did you see when Shatner did it?
William Shatner?
Yeah.
Well, tell me about it, because I think
it was great because he came down, because he did it. He was 94 when he did it,
right?
And he went up, and Bezos,
and then he was 93 when he got back. they went reverse then.
Bezos is such a nerd. He's like, I'm gonna. It's like having a collectible action figure, I guess, to have William Shatner in your little playset. Anyway, he set him up, and it was great. He came back down, and this is whole Bezos' thing. Try to get people involved, and people went up. Straight up, as soon as he got down, people went up to Shatner, and goes, "What was it like being in space?" And he goes, "That I was in the capsule, and I looked out into space, and all I thought of was death." It's like I looked out and all I saw was the end of life and the absence of everything. He did this whole emo poem.
Yeah.
that I think Bezos was not expecting.
Right. Anyway, Bill, cut. Listen, let me
put him back in.
Yeah. I'm gonna go talk to somebody else who took a ride. Man, and then one of the SpaceX rockets burned up again.
Blew up. Yeah.
Right, blew up.
They did a static fire in the rain and it blew up.
When that cat first emerged on the scene, I didn't know anything about Elon Musk. I thought he was fantastic. Just what I thought he stood for, and the things he was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, did you have any idea about him or thoughts about him one way or the other when he first emerged, or did you not?
I kind of liked him. I sort of liked him a bit better than Bezos because he was like so wacky. He was kind of spending his money the way we'd spend it,
Yeah.
But I do think that at first he seemed a lot of people had gotten sort of lucky, quote unlucky, with the tech boom of the late 90s, early 2000s. Like Mark Cuban is a great example, right?
Yeah. Mark
Cuban invented something that Yahoo bought. He bought a particular, I think it was broadcast.com. He invented a company that existed for like 3 years. And then he sold it, but he sold it for like $1 billion.
Right.
And Elon Musk is the same, where like he had something, he invented this thing, PayPal, or he helped co-invent, it was Zip2it and then PayPal. And so like he
co-invented along with Mark Andreessen and some other cats.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Almost like the Doors wrote the songs, but which one of the Doors wrote the, you know what I mean? What did Elon Musk contribute? Like just the snare part?
I mean, he has not really, my understanding is that he did not contribute anything but money to Tesla or SpaceX.
Right.
And that stuff was mainly worked out. And what's funny about him, whenever he tries to come up with an engineering idea on his own, like if you look at the Teslas that you get in Uber, fairly somewhat functional cars.
Yeah.
But the one that he took on his own, he goes, I got this one, the Cybertruck.
Yikes! That thing looks horrific.
Which almost killed that kid, right? That kid, I think he was a draft pick. I know so little about sports. There was some I think college football player almost died in a Cybertruck, and the thing crashed and he couldn't open the doors.
Jeez.
He had to kick his way out because everything is controlled through that central computer.
Oh, man.
He almost burned to death.
Whoa.
Yeah. In a Cybertruck. Can't get in, can't get out.
No, man. And they look horrible.
Yeah.
That's one of those rides. Definitely somebody's getting that. You should just put a sign on it. Hey, everybody, please look at me. Please, God.
Well, I have this bit that I do where I go, real billionaires have ruined fictional billionaires for us. Because you remember how much fun we used to have talking about comic book billionaires? We'd be like, listen, if Bruce Wayne had all that money, he wouldn't spend it all on building some ugly, impractical urban tank that poor people hate as soon as they see it. It turns out thought that's exactly what he was.
Well, right. You were thinking that, and Elon Musk was reading the comic book thinking, ugly and practical urban tank, huh?
How can I do that without any of the crime fighting or helping people?
Right. How can I make the gaudy part without the helping part? Oh, my God.
Well, they were saying about automated, I was going to say this, they were saying about automated driving.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that, like, someone was saying that they're focusing on the wrong parts, because the notion now is that the car drives and then we take over when the car screws up. And they're saying it should be the other way around. The car should correct when we screw up.
Right.
And they were saying, if you think about the things that humans are bad at, we're bad at attention. We're bad at, like, noticing things. But they also said humans are bad at self-assessment. And if humans are bad at self-assessment, how would we know that?
Boom. With the paradox. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Burke hitting you with a weekend paradox. Right. So what are humans good at? What are their strengths?
Doubt,
recrimination.
We can eat nachos real good.
Yeah.
We complain.
That's what we bring to the table.
You know what we're good at? We're good at making noises when we get up too quickly. What else are we good at?
I'm going to tell you, how long will it be? This is my theory that if things were to go on another 50 years, hypothetically, all combat and collision sports will be played by machines.
Yeah.
Right? You know? And then there's more money for the owner, because now it's 1, 2 or 3 people that they own a team of robots, and you know, and it satiates people's need for destruction, because now literally that guy blew him up, that arm, whatever, you know, and we will basically become fodder and entertainment for the machines.
What are they going to do if one of those robots takes a knee?
It'll take it and crunch it, and they'll replace it with another knee. It takes a knee. Robot rights.
Yeah.
No. As he's taking a knee, or it's taking a knee, it'll be like one of those things in those machines coming out, a claw. Right. The anti-protest 9000. Let's go. Man. Well, Adam, I'm gonna tell you something, man. It's always cool. Doing this with you.
Thank you. I forgot to plug stuff, but
plug stuff.
If you would like to hear more of my nonsense, you can find me on Instagram, ATP Burke. I have clips and videos and stuff like that. And also, anyone in the Arlington Heights area, you can check me out at Hey Nonny, August 1st. I'll be headlining there. Please come, tell your friends, tell your enemies, and tell people about whom you are entirely indifferent.
Adam is super funny. Don't do yourself a favor and go see him. And you can listen to me on my podcast, The Napsolute Truth. And it comes out on Wednesdays, every Wednesday. We'll see. Thank you, Lady B. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Patty. And we will see you next time. Good night.
Bye.
Being blind doesn't always look how others may think.
Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down.
I know where to find support and where I can be seen.
Innovative research, educational resources, supportive community. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is leading the charge in finding treatments and cures for blinding diseases. Learn more at fightingblindness.org. A public service message from the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Those headaches and stomach aches your child gets may be migraine. 10% of children and 28% of adolescents have migraine disease. Migraine at School can help. Learn more at migraineatschool.org.